know, two women are in a tug-of-war over a toddler today and have asked me to help sort out what is actually an adoption nightmare. They say it started out peacefully when 22-year-old Kristen decided to place her baby with ex-stepfather Adam and his new wife, Stacy. Now, Kristen appeared to be very proud of her decision by posting it all over social media. She wrote, quote, "I have a great opportunity to give my baby a wonderful life with wonderful parents and also to make my life better. I will always love her and I am not abandoning her." But now that Kristen is pregnant with her second child, things have changed dramatically. And she says she wants Stacy and Adam to hand over her 2-year-old daughter, who she hasn't seen since birth.
My child was stolen from me from my stepdad and his new wife. Stacy is demanding, evil, manipulative, and very, very psychotic. I believe that she probably needs to be on medication. Stacy terrifies me. I don't remember signing any adoption papers for my daughter. I was supposed to be present when the adoption was finalized. Nobody called me. No one told me anything. I believe it was illegal. I do have suspicion that they drugged me. I don't remember much of my pregnancy, and before that, my memory was great. Stacy did everything that she could to control my stepdad to get my baby. I want my child back. I need my little girl in my life.
Stacy says they did everything by the book. She says Kristen never wanted this baby in the first place.
Kristen was 7 years old when I first met her. Right away I knew that she was a handful. She told lies and was always getting in trouble at school. It seemed like it was just one thing after another. When I first heard about Kristen's pregnancy, the first thought that came to mind was, how is she going to take care of this child? Because Kristen had no job. She bounced from house to house. She wasn't married. And I didn't think a child deserved to be put through that.
Kristen never acted like she wanted to see the baby whatsoever. Kristen, she made it clear to the nurses and the doctor, she did not want her child laid on her once it was born. She did not want to see or touch the baby. After the baby's birth, Kristen only laid eyes on the child maybe 2 times, and that was by Kristen's own choice.
It was clear to Kristen from the first time we talked to the lawyer about adoption that it was a closed adoption. She's got a victim mentality. She takes no responsibility for her actions. Kristen was not manipulated by me and Stacy, and she knows that.
Kristen needs to understand that she's no longer this baby's parent. Kristen's favorite thing to do is call us evil and bad people. If we're so evil and we're so bad, why did you choose us to adopt your child?
But Kristen says she believes Stacy and Adam drugged her because she says she has no recollection of signing any adoption papers.
Our adoption was a very thorough, very legal adoption. We followed everything that our attorney told us to do. Kristen was provided copies of all the paperwork at the time that she signed them.
I don't actually remember signing any adoption papers for my daughter.
She brought them home with her. What she did with them after that, I do not know.
I think they were read to me, but I don't remember. And I don't have any copies of the adoption papers.
Kristen's standard cop-out line is, I don't know, I don't remember, or I didn't do it.
I don't remember anything.
Kristen thinks everybody's stupid. She thinks everybody believes her lies.
It's always been well established in Kristen's history that if she knows there's negative consequences to one of her actions, even if you've watched her do it, she will flat-footed look at you straight in your eyes and tell you, I didn't do that. After being threatened and being harassed, why on earth would I allow anyone like that near my child?
At this point, the child in question is how old?
2.
2. Adopted by the two of you.
Yes, sir.
Living in your home now.
Yes.
Healthy?
Yes, sir.
Happy?
Yes, sir.
But you haven't seen pictures, correct?
No, sir, I have not.
And you haven't had any contact with the baby?
No.
And why is that?
They don't want me to see her.
But now you did place this child for adoption, correct? And you did place the child for adoption with Stacy and Adam.
Yes.
And did you do so voluntarily?
I don't remember. I don't think that it was me. I don't feel like that I was aware of my actions at the time because I don't remember very much of it.
This happened across a series of weeks and months when you actually were living with them in their home, correct?
Yes.
At first, they were just there supporting you at the time, giving you a place to stay.
Yes.
And they said they would help you,
Yes.
right? What did they say?
First, they said they would help me with the baby. At first there wasn't any adoption mentioned, and then they offered to do temporary custody,
Right.
so I could get on my feet, go to school and get on my feet, and then it went to adoption, just flat out. They said they couldn't afford to take care of me and the baby, and then
This is all prior to birth.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I immediately was standoffish about the whole adoption. I
Right.
didn't feel like that. I wanted to raise my own child. So they convinced me that it would be best, and at the time I didn't have means to take care of her.
Right. And you basically feel like they kind of seduced you into this,
Yes.
but you say you don't have much memory of it.
No.
Why?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. None of it does. Looking back on it, I just, it's really hard for me to remember. And it's very scary. So I don't know why I can't remember. I don't even know why I would have agreed to the adoption.
When they first said that it would take temporary custody of the baby, did you feel okay about that?
No, I thought, after thinking about it a while, I thought it might be okay because I just didn't have the means to take care of her. So I thought that if they're willing to help me, then that would be wonderful.
And then how did it come up about the adoption? It actually went from temporary to we're just going to adopt the baby completely?
Yes. I don't know exactly what led to the adoption. I think that they just wanted another child.
Do you recall talking to attorneys about it?
Not at that time, no. Later in my pregnancy, I did talk to one attorney. And
So
just
during the
to sign
pregnancy, you do
papers.
recall talking to an attorney about it? And you were told that you would be able to see the baby
Yes,
and be part of the baby's life?
yes.
But did you understand that this was a closed adoption?
No, the word closed adoptions, if they were mentioned, I don't remember.
Okay. Did you two get this young mother into your home and drug her and seduce her into signing her baby over to you?
No, sir.
Absolutely not.
Did you get her into your home and isolate her from friends and family and drug her and seduce her until she signed away her baby?
Absolutely not.
No,
Why?
sir.
We were helping this young woman before she ever became pregnant.
Yes, that is correct.
We did not bring her into our home when she was pregnant. We were helping her before she ever got pregnant.
Yes, that
This
part is
memory
correct,
loss that she's
yes.
talking about, did you give her drugs?
Why?
No, sir.
If we wanted this child so much, why would we drug its mother? We were drugging
didn't
our
ask you
child
why,
too.
I asked you if.
No, we absolutely did not.
Did you give her drugs?
No.
Did you give her any kind of substances at all to affect her memory to the point that she was in an altered state of consciousness and signed away her child?
No,
Absolutely
sir.
not.
Then why don't
She
I
never
remember?
laid pen to any piece of paper, and it was made sure by the attorney until after 24 hours after she gave birth. We were not even in her room or present when she signed her adoption papers.
Did you ever threaten her if she didn't turn this baby over to you that you would do bad things to her? Did you
No.
threaten her in any way?
Not at all.
So you never said that you would make sure she was taken away from me?
No.
When we were up in my bedroom,
You can remember that conversation, but you can't remember signing an adoption paper.
that's what makes no sense
You
to
can remember
me.
these conversations, but she can't remember signing papers over the course of 3 or 4 months. It wasn't one signature.
She signed several papers.
The only papers that I know that I signed, like I said, no memory of them, but the only two that I know were the pre-first surrender and the adoption papers. That's all that I know for sure that I signed.
Well, those are pretty significant papers
Well,
that
yes,
you
yes.
remember
You just
signing.
said you
He's
didn't
saying
remember
there's more
signing
than
any
that.
papers. You
I
just said you
don't.
didn't remember signing any papers.
I don't, but I do know that this is what you guys told me that I signed. I was never comfortable with the adoption. I was just very scared at the time, very scared. I didn't feel like they were giving me much of a choice.
Kristen cannot take care of a child, period. Kristen has no job, no home, no car, no husband. Kristen has no means of taking care of a child whatsoever.
Kristen is an unfit mother. I just think it's pretty selfish for anybody to have a child where you can't even take care of them.
Kristen's been in trouble with the police multiple times.
Kristen's living in a fantasy world. She thinks it's all fun and games with a child, but it's not.
22-year-old Kristen says she was manipulated into placing her baby 2 years ago with her ex-stepfather, Adam, and his new wife, Stacy. Now, Adam says Kristen was always a troubled child and thought there was no way she could raise this baby. Now, you know, one of the things I try to do when I'm trying to figure out in a he said, she said situation, I always try to look back and see what people said then versus what they're saying now. And so with regard to both sides, I try to look back and see. Now, after Kristen gave birth, she posted this comment about the baby. Now, I want you to look not just at what she says, but also her stream of consciousness. Does she seem confused? Does she seem like she's having trouble forming sentences or whatever? She says, weird. She doesn't even feel like mine at all. I hope that doesn't make me sound terrible, but it's like she was meant to be theirs. Smiley face. Now that's something you said then. Here are some of Kristen's posts regarding her adoption decision. She's with her mommy and daddy now, and it doesn't hurt like I thought. If some people can't respect me and my decisions, then I don't want them in my life. I'm sorry, but I know what I'm doing, and whether you agree with it or not, you shouldn't try to change my mind. That is not a real friend. Okay, and then just this past January, just want to set something straight. 2 years ago, when I decided to let these horrible people adopt my daughter, I wasn't being selfish. I was doing what I thought was best. They have tried numerous times to ruin my life. Okay, now, let's go back to the things you were saying at the time the baby was born. At the time the baby was born, you say, weird, she doesn't even feel like mine at all. I hope that doesn't make me sound terrible. You say, she's with her mommy and daddy now. It doesn't hurt like I thought. It's, that A sounds, you know, very coherent in thought. You sound very convicted and clear in what you were saying. You don't sound conflicted or ambivalent at all about your feelings at the time. But yet you describe yourself as confused and conflicted, seduced and coerced. But yet this is what you wrote at the time.
Yeah.
That's not how you're now describing your state of mind.
At the time, I don't remember posting those. I
You
know
don't
I
remember
did.
doing it?
No, I don't. I don't remember saying that. Obviously, I did. I know, but the whole time, I was trying to justify everything, and of course, I had Stacy and Adam telling me this is the right thing, and constantly, over and over, it was like their voice. Like they were convincing me of these things that this is what I wanted. It felt like I had to justify it somehow. And I felt like the only way I could do that is to remove myself emotionally.
So you're saying that these writings would be a product of you being in lay terms, brainwashed, and you would be saying these things to justify or validate
Yes.
your actions, to try to reconcile those things within yourselves so you wouldn't feel so conflicted about it.
Yes, definitely yes.
So you were trying to say these things to soothe yourself and reconcile your actions with your feelings. Okay, and you don't remember sitting down and typing these things out.
No, sir, no.
Do you doubt that you did?
No, obviously I did.
Well, why obviously? If you don't remember it, how do you know that she didn't write these things?
That could have been possible also, but because they're on my page, I don't see why I couldn't have. Because I know how.
Do you remember writing these horrible people one?
Yes.
You remember that one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you said, just want to set something straight. 2 years ago when I decided to let these horrible people adopt my daughter, I wasn't being selfish. When did they become horrible people? Were they horrible people when you were living there and you were feeling uncomfortable? Did you know then they were horrible people, or did they become horrible people after they wouldn't let you see the baby?
No, I didn't at the time. No, I didn't think they were horrible people.
After the baby was born. When you were discharged, where did you go?
Back to Stacy and Adams.
Kristen was gone for about a week and a half.
No.
And when she did show back up, she was black and blue.
When the baby was born, did you hold the baby?
I've been told that I did, but
I'm sorry?
I've been told that I did, but I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you know, were they in the room when the baby was born?
Yes.
These two were in the room when the baby was born?
Yes.
Were you two in the room when the baby was born?
Yes, sir.
And then did you leave thereafter
With the baby.
with the baby to the nursery or where?
The nursery, and then we had our own room with the baby.
Then you had your own room?
Yes, sir. So she was
Okay.
alone.
And you were not allowed to sign papers until 24 hours after the baby was born, correct?
That's what we discussed, yes.
So there was a cooling off period there where you had an opportunity.
That, I don't remember anything after a certain point. Like, a friend of mine was in the room. I know what she has told me. But as far as the actual being there, I don't remember. Like,
When
I feel like I wasn't there because it wasn't. It's so hard to remember things like that. And
when you
after that,
actually signed the papers after 24 hours, were they in the room?
I don't know.
We were not allowed to be in the room.
Well, I understand the law. You're not allowed to be there. You were alone when you signed the papers. They're not permitted to be there. And by
I don't even know.
hospital-
This is the first time I'm hearing these rules, but no, I don't remember. I don't remember being, if they, I don't know who was in the room.
Okay, and when you were discharged from the hospital, how long were you in the hospital before you were discharged?
We checked in Friday night.
After the baby was born? How long were you there after the baby was born?
24 hours,
Okay, and when you were discharged, where did you go?
back to Stacy and Adams.
So when you were discharged, you went to their home. And how long were you there residing at their home?
I know that I left permanently a week after she was born.
A week after
Yeah,
she was born?
that's how I remember it, yes.
And is that when you say she dumped you at a shelter?
Yes.
Was that a week later?
No, sir.
How long was it? How long was she there before she
Well-
relocated?
The hospital social worker and our attorney advised us not to take her home with us from the hospital. And I couldn't do that to her. She had nowhere to go. How
Yeah,
could
I
I
was not
take
aware
this
of
baby
this.
and leave her?
Because this was a closed adoption.
Yes, sir.
And so
And
they said you
Just
should
leave
take the
her
baby
here
and
and
not
take
her.
the baby and go home. And I would refused. We brought her home with us. She had Christmas with us. Christmas Day, she got up and had just as many gifts under our tree as our children did. She had Christmas at our home.
Which I was
we
not,
went to,
I did not receive those after I moved out. Some of my stuff was left there, and when I went back to get it, none of the gifts were in there.
Okay, but she was there for Christmas.
She was there for Christmas. She participated in family Christmas the next day at Adam's parents' home. Then she approached us and wanted to go to her friend's house for New Year's Eve. We told her, okay, you just gave birth, please be careful. She left our home and went with this friend, and she was supposed to only be gone a night or two, and then she was supposed to come back. Kristen was gone for about a week and a half.
No, I wasn't.
And when she did show back up, she was black and blue, covered in bruises. And we had other small children in our home, and we explained to her, they cannot see you this way. They cannot see you in this condition. Go to your room, stay there until we figure out what to do. Kristen refused. Kristen would go to her room, she'd come out. She made sure her baby brother saw her in that condition. Then we had to explain that to these children, what's going on, why is Kristen looking that way? Then things escalated with her attitude and just the things that were going on in our home.
The way I
And
remember it,
that's
I left
when
the
she
day
was
I came
asked
back.
to leave our home.
That day, it was late at night, but that day, I remember leaving.
Well, I thought you couldn't remember anything.
That's what I don't understand. I remember little things. Like, I can remember, like, maybe one part, and then the next 5 minutes, I don't remember. Stacy has 4 biological kids. Her 3 girls, they lived with their grandparents. Her son was adopted when he was born years ago. I heard Stacy gave her son away for drugs. I believe that the fact that her biological children don't live with her is either she's a bad mom or she doesn't want them. I'm really concerned about how she treats my daughter. I think she loves destroying people's lives.
Well, 2 years ago, Kristen says she was manipulated by her ex-stepfather, Adam, and his new wife, Stacy, into placing her baby girl with them immediately after she was born. She says they promised she could be in her baby's life and do things like attend birthday parties, holidays, and first day of school. But Kristen says she hasn't seen her baby since January of 2013, a week after the baby was born, and now she wants to be in her baby's life. Now, you say you haven't seen the adoption papers.
No.
And you don't remember signing them.
No, I don't.
Do you doubt that you signed them?
No, I don't doubt it. But the memory of signing them, I do not have.
Well, Kristen says she doesn't remember signing any paperwork, but I do have a binder with adoption paperwork that Stacy did provide us. And I want to take a look at the signature and the initials. And, you know, the signature on the left is your signature that appeared on the adoption papers, and the signature on the right is the signature that you signed on our paperwork when you agreed to be on the show. And you know, I'm not an expert, but you know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they definitely.
looks pretty much like the same.
Yeah, it does. I just don't remember signing it.
She likes to say that we threw her out of the house as soon as the adoption was final. She left our home January 2013. The adoption was not final until March 2013. So that is not true.
I was aware that it was final.
It wasn't until
immediately.
March 20, the date's on the papers there.
Right.
Yeah, I was aware. I was told it was final immediately, that I had
Kristen
no.
has contacted the attorney that did the adoption, requiring and requesting the papers from
have,
her.
yeah.
But when the adoption attorney told her there was a fee for those papers, there was never another request made for them. So
Because
she
at
was
the
well
time,
aware
I
of
could not come up-
who
I
did
could not
the
afford it.
adoption. So if she
You don't
can't
have
remember it, how
$25,
does
but you're
she
about to
know?
raise a child.
Okay, now
Really?
but this is a closed adoption,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And the papers you signed say it's a closed adoption, which means they are under no obligation for you to have any contact with the baby whatsoever.
I'm sure that's the case, but I know for a fact that it was called a family adoption, basically. There was no words of open or closed adoptions.
I treated Kristen like my child. I cared for her. I explained to her multiple times, driving even to the shelter, that she was not removed from our lives. I begged her, I said, Kristen, please don't do anything to make us have to cut you out of our lives, because when we do, that means you're not going to be around the baby too.
So what did
I told
do?
you, did I not tell you that? I said, Kristen, don't cause drama, didn't I? I said,
Yes.
please don't make me cut you out this baby's life, didn't I?
Yes.
I told you that.
But what did I do?
Yes.
What drama did I cause?
Tell me, when someone begins calling attorneys behind your back, when someone starts calling you a horrible person and speaking about your past that I shared
defended
with you
you.
to help you,
I
when that
defended you
happens,
after-
how would you
after-
let
even
that
after
person
I
in your
was-
home? How?
I defended you even after I left your home.
When you try to speak to her, you can't get through to her. I tried for almost a year to get through to her. All I wanted
And
was for
several
her to get a
times you
better
said-
life. I helped her, made sure she got her GED, made sure that she was safe. If we were hiding her and keeping her, why was she with her aunt? How did she have such easy access to social media, telephones? She had her own cell phone. If she wanted to make a phone call, Dr. Phil, this young woman was free to do so.
I didn't feel
Completely
that way,
free.
though. No, I didn't feel that way.
And you said you found a drug pipe.
Yeah, in one of her shoes in her home. That's what resulted in her having to leave our home.
When I asked you what this drug pipe looked like, you never told me. And that
You
was
were standing
the
there.
first-
Why do I need to tell you
No,
what
I
it
was
looked
not.
like?
This was over text messages.
No, ma'am.
Yes,
you
it
were
was.
in our home and you knew that's
No.
why you left our home.
No, it was not. No.
I found out Adam was having an affair when my mom called me and told me I didn't like Stacy at all. She was married 8 times. She cheated on every one of her ex-husbands, and 3 of the times it was with the same man. I remember her telling me she had been on drugs. She is mentally unstable. Stacy had a plan, and what she wanted was everything my mom had. She wanted Adam, the house they lived in, and then my daughter.
Today, my guests say they are at war over a 2-year-old little girl. Kristen says she doesn't remember signing any adoption papers, placing her baby with Adam and Stacy, but they say they have the adoption papers to prove it. They said they've done this by the book, that they went to great pains to make sure they crossed the T's and dotted the I's. Kristen says she wants to be in her daughter's life, but they won't allow it. Okay, so you're saying you're getting frozen out completely from your family.
Yes.
Your daughter and now your brothers.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
So what's going on here?
Well, Stacy hasn't done anything. I have. I have to do what's right for my sons. I have to protect them. So to say Stacy's doing it all is crazy. I have to do what's right for them.
That's what.
And if
we
that
see, 'cause
means
you don't say anything.
What?
You don't say anything.
What do you mean I don't say
She
anything?
speaks for you.
I'm speaking for myself right now.
And
Just because I don't run my mouth all the time doesn't mean I can't think for myself.
Did you tell Stacy that you got pregnant originally just because you wanted to see what it felt like to be pregnant?
no, my pregnancy was a complete accident.
Where's the father for the baby now?
I have no idea.
Did you say that Stacy has threatened to have this baby taken away from you?
She's not actually said it in those words, no, but she has, yeah, I believe that's what she wants.
If you had your daughter back now, would you have the ability to provide for this child?
If I had her the whole time since she was born, yes, I would have made sure I had a way to
No,
provide
today,
her.
right now.
If I, yeah.
Snap the fingers, you had this child.
No, I wouldn't, not right, no. But I'm not asking for her back. If she is,
Well,
if
you
she's
vacillate
happy,
on that. You say on the one hand you want this child
Yeah, I
back,
would love-
and on the other hand you say you just want your rights.
Yes, I would love to be able to raise my daughter. But if she's happy and healthy, I don't want to remove her from what she knows.
what are we
people
doing
that
here?
She loves. You told me I could see my daughter. I have not seen her. That's what I'm doing
Because of
here.
how you act. If I can't even be in the same room with you, young lady, how in the world do you think you're going to be in my child's life?
We got along
How?
just fine living together.
Exactly.
Okay, why
And then
can't we
Because when you
be
left my
civil
home,
about this?
you changed.
No, I did not.
Knowing that I gave up my child tears me apart. It's very hard for me to understand why I can't have my little girl. Even before she was born, I knew I wanted a baby. And the fact that I don't remember even what she looks like, it kills me.
Kristen only laid eyes on the child maybe 2 times a month because the rest of the time she was either sleeping or not home. She thought that she would continue to live in our home and lay around and play with the baby once in a while. It was quite evident that Kristen was going to slide right back into her old habits.
Well, it's been about 2 years since Kristen has seen the child she gave birth to, after she says she reluctantly placed her for adoption with her ex-stepdad and his wife, Stacy. She says she doesn't remember signing over this baby to them. She says she wants her daughter in her life. Also joining us in this conversation is Sunny Hostin. She is a former assistant U.S. attorney. She's a CNN legal analyst, a good friend of mine, and a friend of the show here. So, Sunny, you've been listening to everything.
I have.
Every step of the way. Does she have legal options open to her at this point?
You don't. And I've reviewed not only these documents, I reviewed the law in the state. I've listened all morning. The bottom line, Kristen, is that this decision that you made is binding. This was a final adoption, and it was done legally. You don't have a challenge to this adoption. That is over. What I'm hearing from you is regret. I'm hearing from you remorse, but I'm not hearing any legal standing to challenge this adoption.
They told me I could see her, and I have not. I was never under the impression there was a closed adoption.
Well, let me say this, because I looked at the documents. It was a closed adoption.
Let me shift out of legal to common sense here, because let me just kind of put the common sense hat on here. If I'm sitting here as a parent and I say, okay, here are my options. Okay, A, I've got someone out here that is bad-mouthing me, calling me horrible people, calling me liars, calling me manipulators, putting all kinds of negative energy on me and about me out there. I can give them access to my home and family, or B, not.
Yeah, I understand that.
Let me see.
But
That's
I
not
said
even a
things out of
close
pain.
call. You said, why are you putting me through that? You are putting yourself through that. No, listen. Don't play the victim here. Listen, I'm not, you need to hear me, because there is a solution here for you. But you're putting yourself through that. You're not the victim here. You are the one that is introducing the drama and the negativity here. And if I am a parent and I'm sitting here and I'm saying, I've got this toxic factor out here and I can let them into my life or not, the answer is going to be not. And so the solution for you is, you say, well, I'm doing this out of pain. Then deal with your pain. But as long as you're introducing drama into my family, the door is going to remain closed. It's that simple. There's good news and bad news. The good news is that the solution is you. The bad news is the solution is you. It's all about you.
Yeah.
You can change this. You have to stop being toxic, and then you have a chance to become a factor. But at this point, it's not even a close call. This is just the reality. I'm sorry that it's not fair, but here's the problem. They don't have to get along with you. You do have to get along with them.
And I would.
That's just the reality,
would.
but you're not.
Because
So you
that's
need
how
to
they're making that, because they treat me this way. So I'm being defensive. That's
Stop. Stop being defensive. If you want what you want, then stop doing what you're doing.
okay, but
There's no
What?
you keep saying, okay, but.
No.
There is no but. There is no but. You keep saying, okay, but, okay,
I
but,
was
okay,
just
but,
gonna
okay,
ask a
but
question.
hell. You just need to say okay.
And under the law, I have children, and I know it may be upsetting to you, but they get to choose who is around their child. And that, at this point, in their minds, cannot be you.
I don't want to hurt you. You look at me. I don't want to hurt you. I've known you since you were 7 years old. And it hurts me to see you sitting there crying like that. I just want what's best for you, and what's best for that baby you're about to have. I think you know that little girl I would give my life for, don't you? You know I would.
Yes, I do know that.
And you need to believe me when I say Stacy would do the same thing. You know she's taken care of.
I do believe that. I couldn't, I would go crazy thinking about it if I didn't believe that you treated her right. But I always have that fear because she did comfort me, that you would treat her different. But
That little girl is the center of our world. You can believe that.
The reality is that the only hope is for you to get healthy and stable, and right now you have an immediate horizon in front of you that's getting closer and closer and closer, and you need to focus on that.
yeah.
Okay?
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.